What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Ragnok Vertical FPS mouse. Now I looked at this mouse a while back and had some short form content up on the channel. It's been now brought back to life thanks to YouTube, so I decided let's do a deeper look at this thing and decide whether it's worth the price or if it should get in the bin. Thanks for watching and I hope that you enjoy this one. So we're on to the unboxing now and let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, this is from Ragnok and it is the best vertical mouse for gaming, or so they claim, but we'll find out in this video. We'll take a look at the back here and you can see there's just some instructions kind of thing up here, or some labels, your left button, your right button, ergonomic design, blue switch triggers, gun grip, dual mode, wired, and 2.4G wireless. So let's get it unboxed and see what we get inside. So we've had these sitting here for about 8 months, so I don't know if the contents have changed in that time or maybe the packaging, but this is what we get. So Born for FPS by Ragnok. So it's like a nice little sort of case here, and we'll open this up and inside we are presented with the gun mouse. Pretty simple, right? So we'll just take the actual handle part out here, and that is obviously the grip and the actual mouse itself. So down here you've got a power button, vibrator on or off. Obviously you're always going to want your vibrator on, guys, but yeah, it does have vibration on it, so that's what that toggle is there for. You've got your laser down there and some sort of pads that help for it to just sort of slide along your desk pad. A little bit of branding down here, Ragnok, button there, button there, button there, and a scroll wheel, and then of course a DPI button on top. So I'll just press the buttons again and let you listen to those. So yeah, they're not the best feeling buttons in the world. You know, there's a little bit of travel there compared to a regular mouse. As you can see, all of that is travel. Then there's the click, travel, click, travel, click. But it's different, but pretty cool design. And then also we get in the box this part, which is like a base plate for the actual grip part itself. You do get your little Bluetooth USB thing there, so you can get this connected. But this slots on, I believe it's this way. Just goes on underneath like so. So then when you've got it and you're holding it, you've kind of got a bit of a rest for your hand. So you don't have to use that, but that just simply slots on. And then obviously when you're on the desk, it's just like that. And then of course, finally inside the box, we get a USB to USB-C cable, so you can use this wired or charge it up, of course. So we're just going to get this connected to the PC. So we're going to simply turn this on by flicking this switch. You'll see that LED light has just come on there. And there was also the USB-C port there for obviously charging it or using it as wired. Then at this point, you need to take your 2.4G wireless USB. You're going to want to plug that into your PC, and then this should be connected. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to unplug my current mouse that I'm using, which is the Gravistar mouse there. And I'm going to take the 2.4G wireless USB, plug that in there like so. Now the mouse should be connected to the PC. Right guys, so the 2.4G wireless USB connection is now in. At this point, this mouse should be connected. So let's give it a test. And it might be hard for you to see, but as you can see, the mouse cursor is moving as we move the mouse. I imagine all the buttons work. There we go. So that's your right click, that's your left click. So we can open up Steam. There we go. We can close Steam, no problem. So now everyone's going to want to know, how is it and what's it like for playing games? So let's get a couple of games loaded up and we'll go through and we'll talk about it as we play the game. Right, so whilst we wait for the game to load, whilst we're in the lobby, I just wanted to quickly talk about the mouse and some of the misconceptions that there are about this. Now, lots of people seem to think that when they see this, PC now has aim assist and almost like it's on some sort of fixed axis, but that's not true. It's a regular mouse. So lots of people often say, how do you look up and how do you look down? Well, it's the same way with a regular mouse. So let's spawn in here to just show you what I mean. If you want to look up, you move your hand forward. If you want to look down, you move your hand down. It's a regular mouse, just instead of you having your wrist like so, it is now upright in a more vertical position, which is supposed to be more ergonomic. And there are a lot of expensive mice out there which are actually more vertical like this and have your hand more in an upright position as opposed to it being twisted like so. Now, whether that's more or less comfortable for you, I think depends on the person very much so. And there's always going to be a little bit of muscle memory to try and sort of overcome. Most people use a mouse like so. You're very familiar to using a mouse that way. When you start using a mouse in a vertical fashion like so, it does feel very weird. Right, so now we're in the game. Let's see if we can actually get any kills. Now, I haven't played COD in a little while. I'm going to be a little bit rusty anyway, and I'm now using a vertical mouse. And like I just sort of touched on, this is down to muscle memory. No gear is going to make you better or worse. It's kind of down to what your preferences are and what you're used to playing with. Things like Call of Duty and any sort of games very much rely on your muscle memory in how good you are at the game. As you can see, I'm clearly terrible. But we'll go through, we'll try and get some kills, and I kind of give you my thoughts and opinions of the mouse. Like I said, I've used it in the past. I did use it for a little while. I kind of got over that hurdle of it being very different to me, and I was able to use it as a mouse and actually get some decent gameplay and some kills. But whether or not I would choose it over a standard mouse, I guess I wouldn't, because I don't. But everybody's different, and perhaps you might want to give it a go, and you might decide to roll with it as your main mouse. So there are 4 DPI settings for this mouse. I don't know the values of the DPI settings, but I'll just show you how it looks on screen here. This is the first and the slowest, or the lowest DPI setting. Then you've got number 2, which is slightly faster. Definitely got more aim and accuracy at this point, but it's not fast enough to be able to look left or right. This is the 3rd setting, which is quite sensitive, but I still feel like this is the one that you'd need to play with. And then number 4, which is super sensitive. We move a little, it moves a lot. So I think 3 is probably the perfect setting for myself. Now, I have seen on the website, because I just quickly checked it out, you can get a metal trigger for this now. So this is replaceable on the newer models, I believe. This comes off and you can get a big, fat, cool looking metal trigger, which maybe has a slightly better accuracy on it in terms of the dead zone. I'm not sure because I don't have it, so I can't let you know for sure. But again, the bottom one underneath, dead zone, click, dead zone, click. So there is a little bit of dead zone until you actually click the button. Now, this is also a left click button there. There is no dead zone with that. It is a small, simple little click just underneath the scroll wheel, which works as expected. The scroll wheel is pretty decent. And then, yeah, there's a thumb button there. If you prefer, you can maybe use that to shoot instead of your left click there. Again, all preference really. Of course, the DPI button on top. But those are the clicks for the mouse. So this is future Adam. After making the joke about leaving the vibrator on, I actually realized that I recorded all of the clips and didn't have the vibration mode on. So I decided that I need to put a clip in here to show you what the vibration mode actually consists of, because vibration mode on a mouse isn't something that we're used to as PC gamers. So the vibration mode is now on. Now, it doesn't work for this trigger, it doesn't work for this trigger, and doesn't work for the scroll wheel, or this button, sorry. But it does work for the main trigger. Now I'm going to press and hold it, and hopefully you'll hear the vibration through the mic. So obviously the vibration is going to rinse the battery a little bit quicker than as opposed to not having it at all. But I'm going to lay it down flat on the desk here, and again I'm going to press that button. And you should be able to hear that, I hope, and hear the vibration mode. Now, if you're very quick with just pressing, you will not get a vibration. But if you have that down for a second, it will then start vibrating. Now, obviously, that again, the mouse itself is a little bit of fun, but the vibration certainly adds another little bit of element of immersion and fun to this. It's similar to obviously what a controller vibration feels like. You can feel the vibration throughout the entire mouse. It kind of feels like the vibration part is down here and it goes through the desk, and then you can kind of feel it up through the mouse. It's not the strongest vibration, but it is enough to give you feedback, kind of just letting you know, I guess, that you've got the trigger held down, which obviously you know that you've got the trigger held down, but it's nice. It's quite a nice little feature. So I'm just going to show you here what it's like with the gun. Obviously, you look, so So you get your noise feedback from your gun and you get your vibration in your mouse, which is a nice little feature. I mean, if you're used to playing with controller all the time, you kind of know what the vibration feels like in a controller. So it is kind of a nice feature to have in the mouse. So something that obviously is quite noticeable is it is harder to be accurate with this mouse. Now that is probably like I've said before, a muscle memory thing. It's something that you're going to have to get used to. There are lots of times where I feel like I'm aiming and I can't quite move it to the left or right. It's a slightly different muscle memory that I'm not quite used to. So I'm finding myself shooting and just not actually aiming at the guy. That I don't think is a mouse problem. That is a user problem. But it does come with using a mouse like this, which is vertical, because it's a totally different way of moving your hand to sort of do the action that you need it to do. A more fairer review would have been that I would have spent some time getting familiar with the mouse. But I must say, I had got familiar with the mouse previously, and I was able to get kills and have a relatively decent game. I've not played COD in a while, so I am kind of a bit trash. But the mouse is totally usable. You can get kills with it. You can get good with it. It's harder to obviously be good with this kind of mouse because of the learning curve, which again isn't the mouse's fault entirely. It is just a big learning curve. So as we said before, this button here to the left is actually a trigger button. So you can actually use that as your trigger if you prefer. Like you can see, we managed to get a kill there. A game that I think the mouse might actually work for is Shiv, or Chivalry 2. If you play Chivalry, then you're pretty awesome. Now, similarly, because this obviously is a gun handle as such, and it's made to give you, I guess, some sort of level of immersion, similarly could work for if you're using a sword to kind of give you a little bit of immersion in the game. But in terms of the combat where you swing and it's all sort of motion based, the mouse actually works quite well for this. This is a very awesome game though. I must admit the mouse does make it a bit of fun. Again, it's not going to make you a better player. It's not going to give you an advantage, I wouldn't say. It's probably going to make you a worse player, at least again, until you get good with it and you learn how to control it and the difference in the muscle memory that you're going to have to get used to. But for a bit of fun, why not? Now, I kind of decided to make this video on a little bit of a whim, purely because for whatever reason, YouTube started showing the short to everyone. So there's been a whole load of flurry of comments and such things like that. I think the title of the short video was, will this mouse make me better at COD? And obviously it won't. It was a simple title for the short that I had created. It's not going to make you better at COD. It's not to say that it's going to make you any worse at COD. It will at the beginning, but that's just a muscle memory thing. Once you're up to speed with using a vertical mouse, it's just like using any other mouse. But I think personally, rather than using it for Call of Duty, I actually think it works better for Shiv. And this is where I'd actually feel like I'd have more fun using this, is on Chivalry as opposed to Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that. I feel like with FPS shooters, you need to be quite accurate. You need to be able to have those very fast sort of reflexes and be able to almost pinpoint where your aim needs to be in a very quick time. And having the vertical mouse, at least until you get used to it, is going to make that way slower, in my experience. Now, a game like Chivalry, you don't need to be as quick or as smooth with your precision. It's kind of just, like I said, in terms of how the combat is done, it's a lot of swinging. It's moving your mouse left and right. You don't have to be overly accurate with your aim. So I actually think it works better with a game like Chivalry or similar games like this, where it doesn't actually matter in terms of how accurate you are. You don't have to be overly accurate with where your actual crosshair is. There is no crosshair. You're just kind of swinging. So let's talk quality of the Ragnok gun mouse. Now, I've checked the website and they're retailing for about $60, $65. And I think for that price, you're kind of getting what you pay for. The materials aren't obviously super high quality. There's a lot of plastic that you can kind of feel the springs and the switches inside. They're not obviously the best quality, but I think for what you're paying for, you kind of are receiving a relatively decent product, which I think realistically is just a little bit of fun. I don't think people should be getting this if they're overly serious about competitive gaming. Like I said, it probably isn't going to make you a better player in any sorts of games. It's not going to make you a better shooter in Call of Duty. It's not going to make you a better sniper, at least not until you get over that hurdle. But is it fun? Is it different? Yes. Is it comfortable? Yes, it is comfortable to use, but there is something to note where there is a slight difference in how you use it. So I think there might be a period where you have to adjust yourself and build up the muscle memory, and also in your wrists, because I do feel like there is more movement with this as opposed to using a regular traditional mouse. The quick actions, you're not having to move your wrist as much. It's very smooth. I play with quite a high sensitivity, so I don't have to move my mouse a hell of a lot to get a lot of responsiveness out of it. Whereas with the Ragnok Gun Mouse, I do have to move more. So there is more wrist action, insert joke here, but there is more wrist action, which is probably going to put some sort of strain on your wrist that you're not used to. And that's not through the position in which you're having the mouse. It's the fact that you're now using your wrist more so than you was using it before, and you wouldn't be used to it. So again, it's something that you would have to build up a durability and a muscle memory, much like just using the vertical mouse anyway. But guys, I think that's pretty much my opinion on it. It's a good bit of fun. You're getting what you pay for. It's not the best build quality in the world, but it's also not the worst. For $65, I think you're getting every bit of $65 worth of value out of the product. It's not going to be for everyone, 100% agree with you. There's only going to be very few people that would actually want to use a vertical mouse. But if you're into FPS games or games like Chivalry, like I've said, and you want to have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of switch it up a little bit and use a vertical mouse that you might find works better for you and you might actually enjoy using it more than a regular mouse, then sure, take a look at it. Why not? So I think I might have mentioned at the start of the video, but if I didn't, I do actually have a spare one of these that is boxed and brand new. So what we're going to do is just comment down below if you want one of these, and I will pick a winner out of the comments, and I'll get your address, and I will ship off this brand new gun mouse to yourself so you can use it for your gaming. But that's going to round this one off, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. If there's any other questions that you have, leave them down below in the comments and I will get back to you. And then obviously drop a comment down below if you want to win yourself this mouse. I'll pick a winner in a week or so and I'll get your address and ship it out to you. But that's going to do it, guys. Until the next one, I'll catch you soon. Bye for now.